It's been 7 days since I last painted. 7 days since I've really sat with my hands in the work. And today I found myself back in the forest, mushroom hunting, moving slow, noticing how everything here grows without asking permission. It made me wonder, why do I so often need to justify my own rhythm? Why do I feel the need to explain the pause, the stillness, as if I owe the world productivity for existing? The Mycelium network reminds me that nothing in nature performs. It doesn't rush to be seen. It doesn't need to announce its function. It simply moves intelligence through the unseen, translating decay into nourishment, endings into beginnings, communicating invisibly, part of a much larger system than itself. Maybe that's what I'm learning to do too. To trust that even when I'm not producing, I'm still participating. That creation doesn't disappear just because I've stepped away from it. Maybe rest isn't the opposite of creation. Maybe it's part of its design. There's this quiet pressure that builds when you love what you do, when passion and purpose blur. Sometimes it becomes hard to tell whether you're creating from love or from the fear of losing what that love gives you. And I think that's where I'm at, questioning what actually feels good. Not what looks good or sounds aligned, but what genuinely supports the whole of me. I'm starting to see that questioning is part of becoming. That doubt isn't always resistance, sometimes it's guidance. It's how consciousness tests whether the versions of me I'm inhibiting still fit. We're often so quick to label our slowing down as laziness, our softness as weakness, our questioning as confusion, but maybe that's just conditioning talking. Maybe what feels wrong is often the doorway to what's real. I don't think we question enough what actually nourishes us. We just inherit schedules, deadlines, expectations, and forget that life isn't meant to be performed. Even creativity, when turned into performance, starts to lose its intimacy. Consciousness doesn't respond to pressure, it rises to presence. The finish line isn't something I chase, it finds me when I'm ready to meet it. We live in a world that celebrates consistency as virtue, but nature isn't consistent, it's cyclical. It grows, decays, regenerates, retreats. It doesn't call that inconsistency, it calls that intelligence. Force only works when it's aligned with that intelligence. When it comes from intuition, not intellect. When I force myself to create, I can feel it. It's like the current gets thinner. It becomes about proving, about control. But when I let it come naturally, everything reorganizes itself into coherence. And I think that's what the forest teaches me every time I go back, that consciousness doesn't need to be pushed. It just needs to be trusted. You can't force timing. You can't schedule emergence. You can only tend to the conditions that allow it. What would it mean to live in a way that truly feels good for me, in a deep cellular, this is right for me and my system kind of way? There's a thin line between passion and addiction, and the difference is presence. Addiction creates from lack. Passion creates from overflow. and the body always knows the difference. We are biofields of intelligence, of chemistry, of current. When you create under pressure, you're producing from cortisol. When you create in flow, you're producing from coherence. That's the real productivity, when your system aligns with the same intelligence that governs the universe. So we rest in knowing that I don't have to prove myself for something I know I already am. Questioning yourself isn't self-betrayal, it's self-listening. Even here in the quiet, everything is still forming. Process is alive even when it looks still. I don't need to force a masterpiece out of every moment. I don't need to document my intimate moments. Some days are just for mushroom hunting, for letting the forest rearrange your molecules before you try to rearrange reality. Consciousness never needed to be managed. It only needs to be met. And when you meet it softly, it shows you how to move again, not from pressure, but from pulse.